NASCAR needs Lego. The year is 2007. 9-year-old BravoBricks is strolling through a Walmart in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. I've been given $20 from my grandma to spend on anything I want. Up and down the aisles I walk, but nothing grabs me. And that is until I reach the car aisle. Every toy section has a car aisle. I walk down, I pick up something called a NASCAR. It's got my favorite color on it and a recognizable brand. It looks fast and fun to play with. It was a NASCAR die-cast toy. Now the timing works out perfectly. The first race of the season is coming up soon. Come Sunday race day, we turn on Fox Sports channel to watch the Daytona 500, and what young BravoBricks sees is nothing short of awesome. And ever since then, I have been a NASCAR fan hooked on the spectacle, the cars, the speed, and especially the crashes. One simple toy, one cunningly placed product on a shelf, and 18 years later, I'm still a fan. I mean, how could you not be? This was my very first race.
Getting a run off turn 4. It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Checkered flag. We got one car on his roof coming across the start-finish line. They're wrecking everywhere.
Still gets me. I got the goosebumps. I got the goose pimples. So how does Lego play a part in all of this, and why is it that NASCAR needs Lego? Well, for one, NASCAR viewership, popularity, and its overall presence in today's current cultural zeitgeist has diminished dramatically since even the mid-2000s, let alone its kind of overall peak in the late 90s. Lego and F1 have a successful partnership. If recently you've either been to a Walmart or a Target or a Lego store or ventured onto their site, you notice that F1 has a huge presence with Lego. You've got cheap sets with the Lego Speed Champions. You've got even cheaper sets with the $5 mystery boxes. You've even got adult icon sets with the Ayrton Senna and the Williams Racing Nigel Mansell car. You've even got incredibly expensive F1 Technic sets for over $200. So regardless of which set you lean towards, you can't deny that F1's got a humongous presence on Lego's site. Kids' toys, adult toys, current cars, icon cars of the past, truck haulers, whatever it is, it's all recognizable vehicles, paint schemes, and brands that you will see on race weekend in F1. So on top of this massively successful advertising campaign, back in Miami at the Grand Prix, we've got drivers that drive around in Lego car versions of their F1 cars. They do a lap where they do a wave, they thank the fans for coming to the track, and it's nothing special, but put them in Lego cars and it makes major sports headlines. It's all over TikTok, it's on Instagram Reels, it's popular. People are talking about it. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If you're a kid and you see this and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch that. Look, we got Lego on TV. We got professional adults driving Lego cars. I gotta watch this. So how is it that NASCAR can benefit from a similar approach? Now, like I mentioned before, NASCAR popularity overall very down by a significant margin, due in part to the mass exodus from cable. F1 streams a couple places. It's on ESPN on cable. Sometimes it's on Sky Sports. It's on F1 TV. It's more accessible. The same type of toy that I picked up at Walmart back in 2007 is no longer on the shelves and has not had a similar product in retail stores since maybe 2013, 2014, and that's being generous. Lego is the most popular toy product in the world for the 10th year running, and the sets are recognizable and they clearly sell well. If you're sitting there on your couch or your phone, you're watching this, you're like, look, BravoBricks, Lego has done a NASCAR partnership. What are you talking about? Lego has never done a fully committed set with NASCAR. And what I mean by that is they do unrecognizable quote unquote NASCAR cars that have the same overall shape as a NASCAR vehicle, but never any recognizable NASCAR paint schemes or brands, or it's never based on certain drivers, just sort of blobs of unrecognizable vehicles that are sort of in the shape of NASCARs, which is a real shame because the 8-wide Speed Champions set that came out, I think last year, 2 years ago, is a great model that does show off some pretty impressive shaping for its size, and it is advertised as a NASCAR, but all of the paint scheme and the number and everything about it is just fiction. There's nothing in this set that you're going to see on the track Sunday race day. Paint schemes sell the cars. They did for me. And if a kid had a toy and they see the real thing on TV, it's going to promote both the toy product and the IP that the toy is based on. William Byron is also connected with LEGO in the Netflix show NASCAR Full Speed, which aimed to copy, funnily enough, Formula One success with Drive to Survive. LEGO could use this as a spring-loaded launcher into marketing success with William Byron at their head. NASCAR drivers do a very similar thing that F1 drivers do, where they do a lap on trucks and then they wave to the fans as well right before a race starts. Just like F1 drivers, it's a way for them to thank the fans for coming to the race, for spending their hard-earned money, though it is worth mentioning NASCAR tickets are significantly cheaper than F1 tickets. So bada bing bada boom, build NASCAR vehicles made of LEGO, life-sized like F1. There's part of your marketing campaign. So let's talk about some potential problems that could come with this. Advertising with brands that do not promote the same value as LEGO. So in Formula One, let's start there first. Formula One is full of dark and gray sponsorship, whether it's a vaping company like what's on the McLaren car, the Neom or whatever you want to call it. Most recently, on the Red Bull car, the Speed Champions 8-wide, on that Red Bull car, we've got Hard Rock Bets. They've got an advertisement on it. We also have Red Bull, which is an energy drink, and energy drinks that have, high sugar or whatever it is, it's not something that LEGO really wants to promote, regardless if it's for kids or adults. So the workaround could be something similar that they did back in the day with either Brad Keselowski, Kurt Busch, or Dale Earnhardt Jr., the old most popular driver of NASCAR, where they take a very recognizable paint scheme, like let's take Dale Jr.'s number 8, Budweiser. Okay, if you're into NASCAR at all or you know anything about NASCAR, you know that this is an iconic vehicle. Well, what they did with kids' toys is they took out the word Budweiser and they would put in something else, whether it was his name or a company name that just kind of matched the same size. And it was a good workaround. And overall, the car is still recognizable, and it's a way for them to sell to a younger demographic to where they don't need to strip the car completely of everything that it's known for. It still looks roughly the same, and bada bing, bada boom, everyone benefits. F1 also gets away with this in LEGO form because they switch out some of the brands, or they won't put all the brands on the car, or they promote it as an 18 plus, like with the Speed Champions car. Everything that is Red Bull or has Red Bull on it is advertised as 18 plus, whereas the other Speed Champions F1 cars are not marketed that way. Funnily enough, there's less sketchy brands advertising in NASCAR than there are in F1. Another potential problem is that there is a smaller pool of people that are going to go for a NASCAR toy over F1, especially in a global market. F1 is an international brand. NASCAR technically is an international brand, but it's much less recognizable and much less popular overseas and in any other market outside the States. If you were to pair NASCAR sales with F1 sales on the toy side, you can absolutely expect F1 sales to blow the NASCAR ones out of the water. No question about it. But that doesn't mean that the partnership couldn't be beneficial for both. So that's all the bad things going for it. Let's talk about some of the good things going for it. There is a big market, I'll call it a market gap, for cheap NASCAR toys. NASCAR diecasts at the 1/24 scale sell at $70 plus, and that's pre-tariff crap. So post-tariff crap, the diecast market is really sinking. In fact, they have kind of seized operations pretty much on any new major 1/24 scale diecast because it doesn't make sense. No one's going to buy it for over $100. The NASCAR toy that I bought back in 2007 was $20. Now, I recognize that $20 back then is much different than $20 now, but it doesn't mean that the market for that price point for a NASCAR toy is gone. If anything, that market should be going way higher. Even the 1/64 scale NASCAR cars have increased from about $5 to about $9, which is insane to me. So if we stick with the Speed Champions price model, $27, it's kind of that sweet spot between a premium toy product while still appealing to a cheaper market. Something else positive going for it is Ford, Chevy, and Toyota all have prior positive relationships with LEGO. They have all had sets in the past based on their own brands. So getting the approval for that shouldn't be an issue. On top of all that, there's a huge pool of past and current NASCAR cars to choose from. The options to choose from as far as choosing which market to appeal to, whether it's the younger demographic or even the adult market that grew up with some of those older paint schemes, is huge and it's wide. So if LEGO starts to sell all of these NASCAR toys, the kids are going to pick it off the shelves, they're going to want to watch it on Sunday, NASCAR viewership goes up. Awesome. Brand recognition and popularity also goes up. The younger demographic is going to be drawn into NASCAR, which they've admitted they desperately will need to stay relevant into the future. NASCAR is not a popular sport to watch for younger people. Even up in Ohio, it was pretty rare to find someone I went to high school with that also watched NASCAR. If I had my fill and my choice of what they'd make, I would choose like an Icons vehicle, maybe like at the $80, $60 price point in the form of a Richard Petty 43 car, or a Dale Earnhardt 3 car, or a Jeff Gordon Rainbow Warrior car, even as far back as the original Hudson Hornet. I mean, there's plenty of cars now that are very good looking that would look great as a toy. I may be a little bit biased, but I think Chase Elliott's number 9 looks pretty gosh darn good. You could have a hauler set with general branding like Chevy, Ford, or Toyota. I definitely don't suggest going full-on F1 route and making every car in the field a speed champion set. Have a smaller pool of sets to choose from when it comes to NASCAR. Maybe choose one Ford, one Chevy, one Toyota. You could even choose one team to focus on. You could choose the team with the most popular drivers, which I believe is Hendrick Motorsports. There's 4 cars right out the bat. You could make one large Technic set just to kind of dip your toes in the water to see whether or not this is something that people would go for. Another problem I should probably mention with the current NASCAR market is that the drivers are significantly less recognizable now than the ones of the past. So if you're going to go into this large Technic set or even the Speed Champion sets, maybe choose one that's recognizable for both young and old drivers like a Richard Petty, or a Dale Earnhardt, or a Jeff Gordon, or a Dale Earnhardt Jr. You could even make a model of a NASCAR track like a Daytona, akin to the football stadiums released in the years past. This would of course be appealing to NASCAR fans, but it's also going to appeal to IMSA Sports Car Championship, Supercross, or just architecture fans in general. I definitely wouldn't suggest they be as big as those football stadiums because I don't think those sold very well, but at a smaller scale, let's say $100, I would get that, even if it was like an outline. You know how we have the Star Wars icon sign? Well, what if we just had an outline of a NASCAR track? Something very simple. I don't think a NASCAR sign like with the logo would sell very well, but maybe the outline of the track would sell well. I don't know. Just a thought. What do you think about that? If you've gotten this far in the video, what do you think? What kind of sets would you like to see, if any at all? I'm a Lego fan first and foremost, but concurrently with that, I'm also a NASCAR fan. I still watch it every Sunday if I'm free. I still watch F1. I like that NASCAR doesn't make me get up at 2 in the morning to make me watch a race. I'll say again, I think William Byron's probably a pretty good representation of how NASCAR and Lego could create this sort of spokesperson persona with him. He's a clean driver, he's got a good reputation, and it's pretty popular. Again, I think this is going to be a mutually beneficial thing for both NASCAR and Lego. It will especially be beneficial for me, because I like both. I want to show my support for both in one big credit card swipe. Fun fact, I got my YouTube start with NASCAR, making stop motion videos on my 1/64 diecast SpaghettiOs 400, which got 90,000 views, which to this day is still my most viewed video, not to toot my own horn. I'll see you next set. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.